Well, I'm 85. I'll start there. I worked for between 20 and 30 years at the California Institute of the Arts as a dean of students. In 2002, I was diagnosed with melanoma, and unfortunately got into a drug trial program, and I don't think it worked, but my melanoma seemed to go into remission. But in the year after that diagnosis, I became once again interested in my state of my body, and took up some strength training at the senior center. And I remembered about yoga, and I think maybe that would be something useful for me to look into. In order to pursue the yoga a little bit, I went to the Maple Corner Community Center where they had a free program, and that was okay. But I just felt so different from everybody else that was in the class that I decided to take a yoga class that was offered at the senior center, where there would be more of my age mates. And there I signed up for a quarters-long series, and I had taken 2 classes and was miserable, mainly because I had it in my mind that when the class started, I looked around and everybody was sitting in a lotus position on blankets or cushions, and I tried very hard to do that. It was very painful, and I didn't ask, I didn't say, is this what I have to do, or I didn't say anything, but nor did the teacher say anything to me. Well then, after 2 sessions, the teacher announced that she was not going to be coming the following week, but there'd be another teacher who would come, a substitute. And with that teacher, I started exactly the same way I did all the other classes, making myself miserable, trying to sit in a lotus position. And she looked over at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm trying to do this, sit in a lotus position." And she said, "Well, it looks like you're in great pain." I said, "I am." And so she said, "Well, why don't you sit in the chair?" And I said, "What?" I couldn't believe that the teacher would say, "Sit in the chair." I already was in love with her then. So at any rate, and then from then on, throughout that whole class, every time we tried to do something, I had the idea, I got the impression she was looking at me, because she would, whenever I would try to do something which was beyond my range, she would come over and say, "I'd like to suggest an adjustment," which meant suggesting to me a way to do the asana, or the position, that didn't hurt, and also gave me the impression that it was acceptable. And that is was extremely important to me. At any rate, I found out that she had a private practice, and that one could sign up for classes with her. And I've been studying with that teacher for the last 10 years. I remember when I first went to a formal class of the new teacher that I started with 10 years ago, and was asked, what are your goals? What would you like to get out of yoga? And I said, I want greater flexibility. I want greater coordination. I want more strength, and I want more balance. All physical things, which I did. That's exactly what I wanted. And because my focus was entirely on, like the old Kennedy fitness photo. I needed to be, get as fit as I could. And those are all things that in my mind are related to being healthy and fit. And that was then. I still want those same things. I mean, they still are important to me, but they're not as important as something else. And I thought about this, I must confess, I thought about this yesterday. One of the basic books about backpacking was written back in the 60s, I think, or maybe the 50s, by Colin Fletcher. And he described the experience of backpacking as being nailed to the present. And that's what yoga does for me. Every single time, every single lesson. I come in, my mind is, I'm scattered, I don't feel particularly centered or focused. Within minutes, I'm nailed to the present. And that's what I think is and that seems to me a very amorphous kind of thing to say is the most important thing about yoga, at least, but it is for me. The morning practice really consists of just 3 poses with a few moments of peaceful preparing, and then a few moments of peaceful relaxing afterwards, and then the 3 positions. And what it does for me in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, I'm stiff. And if I don't do yoga, I mean, in the past when I didn't have this practice, I would get up, and by the time I got downstairs for breakfast, I was beginning to feel halfway human and halfway able to move. This just means that when not only do I, after this 10-minute practice, not only do I feel loosened up and not free of aches and pains and so on, I also feel focused instead of cloudy. And so all of that seems very worthwhile to me. More of the poses, I have to make adaptations to more of the poses than I do not have to make adaptations for, because of physical limitations, like an unrepaired torn rotator cuff and generalized old age, stiffness. And so, and it has been extremely important to me to know that I am not shut out from the benefits of doing yoga because of that, but instead can, with adaptations, do many of the positions that come up in a normal class. Another thing that I really like about yoga is I do most of it with my eyes closed. So, except for the sounds that we share, I'm usually not physically aware of other people being in the room. So whether or not they're making adaptations or doing something in a way that's different from the way I'm doing it, just doesn't enter my mind. That's also a great, great, great relief. Yoga as an interior experience is just related to some major parts of my own belief system. Just think about what's really, really important occurs momentarily, and you just have to be on the lookout for whatever the moment is. And for example, if you happen to look out your window in California, if you happen to look out your window in the west in the evening, you'll see a totally remarkable sunset, and you probably would define as a moment. And I said, that's what I have come to feel is the only thing that's reliably significant or important about being alive, is that we all have the capacity to have these transcendent moments at unexpected times and in unexpected ways. I welcome anything or any experience that seems to offer the prospect of keeping me open to these possibilities, these moments, like what goes on in yoga class is one of those things. And I actually strongly believe in empirical truth. But at the same time, I also believe things like, I think my asthma is better because of yoga. And ordinarily, one does not think of asthma as self-healing. I mean, it doesn't go away by itself. If you, if you wait, it's still there. So I don't know. I sort of, in my mind, without being able to back it up or anything else, I attributed it to the breathing that to the style yoga that I'm doing now, which focuses on breath. And I've been doing that same style for 10 years. I think, I just can't tell you, I think I feel so much better off now having been involved with yoga than I think I would have if I've not had this experience. So. And what the heck, I'm 85 years old and I'm in good health. Doesn't yoga have something to do with that? I think it does.